Try to help Halima with her spring makeover.
It would be, thank you very much.
I'll discover why Bactrian camels are famous for their bad manners.
That's all coming up on the next Animal Park.
Meet today's team of Weakest Link players on BBC Two in a moment. Then to buy or not to buy in Bristol. That's the port of call for our property hunting team at 2:35. We're back at Royal Ascot for the racing at 3:20. And a quick tip for you, BBC One has live coverage from there now.
Officer of the Year, Detective Chief Inspector Anthony Gates.
DCI Gates is the best detective in this city.
Daddy!
Whoa!
DCI Gates appears to be an exemplary officer.
Appears to be.
We got where he is because he had to be twice as good as the next bloke.
What? So what are you saying? To be corrupt, he's got to be twice as bad?
He's a good man. You remember that.
Nobody plays me.
I'll push him from the outside, you push from the inside. It'll crack.
You take a shot at the king. Make sure you kill him, son.
Line of Duty starts Tuesday at 9 on BBC Two.
BBC Two steers a young couple to the right location for a first-time buy, right after the Weakest Link.
Here are today's team of 9 contestants preparing for the show. Only one of them will go home with the prize money of up to £10,000. The others will leave with nothing, as their teammates vote them the Weakest Link.
Welcome to the Weakest Link. Any of the 9 people in the studio here today could win up to £10,000. They don't know each other. However, if they want the prize money, they'll have to work as a team. But 8 of them will leave with nothing. As round by round we lose the player voted the Weakest Link. Let's meet the team.
I'm Angela, I'm 45, an accounts clerk from Birmingham.
My name's Nicholas, I'm 29, university lecturer from Belfast.
My name's Eileen, I'm 70 years old, I'm retired and I live in Hitchin in Hertfordshire.
I'm Tony, 31, a franchise manager from London.
My name's Sarah, I'm 23, an air stewardess from Motspur Park in Surrey.
I'm Alf, I'm 50, I'm a college caretaker from Wallsend in North Tyneside.
I'm Heather, I'm 37 and I'm a company director from the Vale of Glamorgan.
I'm John, I'm a 63-year-old retired postal executive from Rotherglen in Lanarkshire.
My name's Gary, I'm a 20-year-old student from Manchester.
Now the rules. In each round the aim is to answer enough questions correctly to reach your £1,000 target within the time limit. The fastest way is to create a chain of 9 correct answers. Get your question wrong and you break the chain and lose all the money in that chain. But if you say bank before the question is asked, the money is safe. However, you start a new chain from scratch. Remember, at the end of the round, only money that has been banked can be taken forward. In round 1, there are 3 minutes on the clock. We'll start with the person whose name is first alphabetically. That's you, Alf. Let's play the Weakest Link. The first question is for £20. Start the clock. Alf, for which part of the human body are beak, hooter and conch slang terms?
Nose.
Correct. Heather, in mythology, which fabled creature looked like a horse with a long horn?
Unicorn.
Correct. John, proverbially, it's lucky at cards, unlucky in what?
Love.
Correct. Gary, in gardening, what A is a small plot of rented land used for growing vegetables and flowers?
An allotment.
Correct. Angela, what name is given to a creature with a segmented body that plays an important role in aerating and mixing soil?
Pass.
Earthworm. Nicholas, what alcoholic drink was invented by a Benedictine monk called Dom Perignon?
Champagne.
Correct. Eileen, in music, Heart of Glass and Denny were hits for which New York band in the 1970s?
I don't know.
Blondie. Tony, what B is a common building material of rectangular shape that's been fired in a kiln?
Brick.
Correct, Sarah. In the English language, how many S's are there in the word association?
2.
Correct, Alf. In TV, complete the title of this late 1970s American science fiction series, Battlestar what?
Galactica.
Correct, Heather. In biology, what C describes a disease communicable by ordinary social contact?
Contagious.
Correct, John. In education, what did the O stand for in O-level?
Ordinary.
Correct, Gary. Which role do our character features in the title of his novel about a chocolate factory?
Charlie.
Correct. Angela, in religion, who has the higher rank, a bishop or an archbishop?
A bishop.
Archbishop. Nicholas, what's the name of the curved wooden missile used chiefly by the Aborigines of Australia, which is renowned for returning
Boomerang.
to the thrower? Correct. Eileen, what name is given to a plant that completes its life cycle within 1 year?
Annual.
Correct. Tony, the American Film Industry's Academy Awards are known by what other name?
Oscars.
Correct. Sarah, in
Bank.
food, what N is an East Indian flour-based flatbread?
Naan bread.
Correct, Alf. In art, in which European city is the Mona Lisa on permanent display?
Paris.
Correct, Heather. In biology, dentine is the main constituent of what in the human body?
Teeth.
Correct, John. In food, Irish moss, kelp and lava are types of which edible algae?
Seaweed.
Correct, Gary. In the Hans Christian Andersen children's story, which little girl did he describe as no bigger than a thumb?
Thumbelina.
Correct. Angela.
Bank.
In which country could you visit a kibbutz?
Israel.
Correct. Nicholas, who is Elizabeth Jagger's famous mother?
Bianca.
Jerry Hall. Eileen, what name is given to the sleep-like state adopted by some animals to survive the harsh conditions of winter?
Hibernation.
Correct. Tony, in fashion, what B associated with Easter is a woman's brimmed headdress tied with a ribbon under the chin?
Bonnet.
Correct, Sarah.
Bank.
What was the name of the French? Time is up. I cannot complete the question. And in that first round, you managed to bank £650 of a possible 1,000. Who is already looking worryingly slow? Whose knowledge does not appear to be sufficient to take them through the rounds ahead? One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
At the end of the first round, the statistics show that Heather is the strongest link. Angela is the weakest link, as she was the only player to answer 2 questions incorrectly. But will the other players have picked up on this?
Okay, voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Eileen.
Angela.
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 Eileen. Not much of a fan of Debbie Harry, then?
Never heard of her.
Oh. What sort of pop music do you like, then?
None.
Right. That's going to be a problem, isn't it?
I'm afraid so, yes. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed.
Are you? Why Angela?
I think she got 2 or 3 questions wrong.
Right. Gary, how's it going for you?
It's going very well so far, I think.
Is it? Why Angela?
She banked £300, but I passed on £200, which she lost, which I remembered.
She banked £400.
Oh, I didn't know.
What do you do?
I'm a student.
Are you? What are you studying?
Media technology.
Oh, dear. Nicholas, got some O-levels?
11.
Really?
Yeah.
Got any A-levels?
A couple, yeah.
How many?
7.
Got a degree?
PhD.
A PhD?
Yeah.
Right, and you don't know who Elizabeth Jagger's mother is?
I know her very well, yeah.
Okay, what did Angela do to upset you?
She banked when the chain was going quite nicely.
Right, okay. Well, Angela in fact banked the most money, but it was unanimous. Angela, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I should have got the question about the Archbishop right. I mean, I did know that. Why I said Bishop, I don't know. Feel a bit silly now.
I only got one question right, but I did bank some money, so somebody's going to be a bit better off thanks to me, but won't be me. I think Eileen may go next. I think she'll struggle on questions of the modern culture, such as she did in that round.
Round 2, you've won £650 so far out of a possible 1,000. 8 of you left. We are now taking 10 seconds off the clock. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Heather. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Heather, the characters Tim and Lex appear in which 1993 Steven Spielberg film about dinosaurs?
Jurassic Park.
Correct. John, what type of animal was the children's television puppet Muffin?
A mule.
Correct. Gary, in pop music, Faith was the first solo album by which former member of the pop group Wham?
George Michael.
Correct. Nicholas, in TV, in whose flying circus did the actors John Cleese and Michael Palin star? Correct. Eileen.
Bang.
In science, does a concave mirror curve inwards or outwards?
Outwards.
Inwards. Tony, the children's character Paddington Bear liked what kind of filling in his sandwiches?
Jam.
Marmalade. Sarah, which P is a plastic used to make household articles first produced by ICI in March 1933?
PVC.
Polythene. Alf, how many 2p coins are needed to make £5?
250.
Correct. Heather, which strong-smelling purple shrub belonging to the mint family has its flowers cultivated for its oil and is often made into soap?
Lavender.
Correct. John, in law, what C is usually a written document signed by 2 or more people who wish to make a legal agreement?
Pass.
Contract. Gary, in geography, is Exeter a British city?
No.
Yes. Nicholas, in literature, complete the name of this Charles Dickens novel, Martin what?
Chuzzlewit.
Chuzzlewit, correct. Eileen, in the animal kingdom, which black and white whale is also known as a grampus?
I don't know.
A killer whale. Tony, which property-buying board game was invented in 1935 by Charles Darrow?
Monopoly.
Correct. Sarah,
Bank.
in cookery, what G is the term for a decorative edible accompaniment to finished dishes?
Garnish.
Correct. Alf, which day of the week is supposed to be particularly unlucky if it falls on the 13th of the month?
Friday.
Correct. Heather.
Bank.
In nature, is ebony a hard or soft wood?
Hardwood.
Correct. John, in maths, what weight is represented by the letter G?
Gravity.
Gram. Gary, what would a dart player score if he threw a treble 4, a double 4 and a single 4?
24.
Correct. Nicholas, in the human body, what V is the name given to a tissue whose function is to allow the movement of fluid in one direction only?
Vessel.
Valve. Eileen, complete the title of this children's animated TV series, Jamie and the Magic what?
Peach.
Torch. Tony, what was the surname of David and Elizabeth, the fashion designers commissioned to make the Princess of Wales wedding dress?
Pass.
Emmanuel. Sarah, in the animal kingdom, what is the name given to a young giant panda?
A cub.
Correct. Alf, which famous department store first opened on Oxford Street in 1909?
Pass.
Time is up. The correct answer was Selfridges. Just £270 team banked in that round, so you well missed your target of another £1,000. Who needs early retirement? Who is a waste of rations? I urge you, lighten the load, heighten the bank balance. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Once again, Heather is the strongest link, as she was the only player to answer all of her questions correctly. The weakest link is Eileen, who got none of her questions right. But who will lose out in the vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
John.
John.
Eileen.
John.
Eileen.
Gary.
Eileen.
Eileen.
Gary, why Eileen?
She got 2 wrong.
Right. She probably knows where Exeter is, though.
I think so.
She got 3 wrong, actually.
I must have missed one.
So geography and counting aren't among your finest skills, are they? John, how's it going for you?
Not too good, Anne.
No. Why Eileen?
It was between Eileen and myself, I think. So, being sort of egotistical, I didn't vote for myself.
Right. Okay. Alf, why Eileen?
Yes, you got 3 questions wrong.
Right. Eileen, what happened to you?
I didn't know the answers.
Right, 4 votes. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I'd hoped to get through to a few more rounds, you know, than being knocked off in the second round. But it's just luck what questions you get. I think John will probably be off next, or it might be Nicholas. But he was standing next to me, and you don't notice the person next to you as much as you notice the person opposite you.
Round 3, you could have won £2,000 by now. In fact, you have in the bank just 920. 7 of you left. We're taking another 10 seconds off the clock. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Heather. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Heather, in cinema, what hour is a spool used for winding and storing film?
Reel.
Correct. John, which is the smallest deer native to Britain, the roe deer or the red deer?
The roe deer.
Correct. Gary, which B is a capital city and port on the Mediterranean Sea which became famous under the Romans for its school of law?
I don't know.
Beirut. Nicholas, in politics, a person employed to put a favourable slant on political news stories is known as a spin what?
Doctor.
Correct. Tony, match play and stroke play are the 2 basic forms of competition in which sport?
Bridge.
Golf. Sarah, in the human body, what type of cells are erythrocytes, red or white blood cells?
White.
Red. Alf, in food, which dairy product is an ingredient in the Greek dish tzatziki?
Yogurt.
Correct. Heather, which English monarch was crowned in the UK's first televised coronation service?
Queen Elizabeth II.
Correct. John, is a chiff-chaff a plant or an animal?
An animal.
Correct. Gary, which UK TV inquisitor made Richard Nixon weak during an interview? Jeremy Paxman or Sir David Frost?
Sir David Frost.
Correct. Nicholas,
Bank.
which famous mathematical physicist became an American citizen in 1940, taking up a post at Princeton University?
Einstein.
Correct. Tony, in human biology, what is the name of the pigmented muscular curtain in the eye that is perforated by the pupil?
Iris.
Correct. Sarah, which islands get their name from the Spanish word for tortoise? Galapagos Islands or Paracel Islands?
Galapagos Island.
Correct. Alf,
Bank.
on children's TV, what sort of animated cartoon creature are Diglett and Pikachu?
I have no idea.
Pokemon. Heather, in science, does an inhibitor speed up or slow down a reaction?
Slow down.
Correct. John, which famous murderer went on a killing spree in London in 1888?
Jack the Ripper.
Correct. Gary,
Bank.
in music, whose first single, Hey Joe, hit the UK charts in 1967?
I don't know.
Jimi Hendrix. Nicholas, in science, what M describes a metal that can be beaten into a different shape without fracturing?
Malleable.
Correct. Tony, in the animal kingdom, the aardwolf is a coniferous mammal closely related to which so-called laughing animal?
Hyena.
Correct. Sarah, in
Bank.
sport, how often are the Commonwealth Games held?
Every 4 years.
Correct. Alf, Bruce Wayne is better known as which fictional Gotham City crime fighter?
Batman.
Correct. Heather, what name is given to the study of ancient Egypt?
Egyptology.
Correct. John,
Bank.
which university did Tony Blair attend? Time is up. You banked £500 in that round, but who is now several answers short of what's needed in a game of general knowledge? Who is beyond help? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
For the 3rd time in a row, Heather is the strongest link statistically. The weakest link is Gary, who got 2 of his questions wrong, although he did bank some money for the team. But will it be enough to save him when it comes to the vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Gary.
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 Tony.
Tony.
John.
Tony, keep fit's one of your hobbies, is it?
Yeah, when I can, yes.
Right. Not much of a golfer, though, are you? Why Gary?
I think he got probably the most questions wrong that round, and he seemed to be a bit nervous doing it, so.
Right. Sarah, how's it going for you?
Okay.
Is it?
Not brilliant, but not bad.
Is art one of your hobbies?
No.
No, I thought not. Why Gary?
It was difficult to tell in that round, but I think he got the most wrong.
Right.
As far as I could remember.
Gary, when you leave Salford University, what are you going to do then?
Well, first of all, I think I'd better go and find out where Beirut is.
Yes.
And Exeter.
Yes.
And then after that, I want to work in television.
Do you? Well, you seem quite well suited to television. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I think, apart from the rest, the question about Exeter was the one that I should really have got right, because I mean, everybody knows it's a city. It's under the pressure and the lights, and Robinson stood right next to you. It's very daunting. You have to try your very best to keep calm, and it's very hard to do.
Round 4, £1,420 banked out of potential prize money of £3,000. 6 of you left. We are taking another 10 seconds off the time. You now have only 2.5 minutes. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Heather. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Heather, in science, what S is a substance that will dissolve another substance?
Solution.
Solvent. John, who won the European Champions Cup in 2000?
France.
Real Madrid. Nicholas, in mainland Britain, which is the closest port to the continent?
Calais or Dover.
Dover. Tony, in geography, what G is the country from where most northern hemisphere icebergs originate?
Greenland.
Correct. Sarah, where would you find an iambic pentameter? On a sports pitch, in a poem, or a science lab?
In a poem.
Correct. Alf, in politics, what A is an agreement between 2 or more states to assist each other in the event of war?
Alliance.
Correct. Heather.
Bank.
On TV, which actor played the Glaswegian detective Jim Taggart? Mark McManus or Neil Duncan?
Mark McManus.
Correct. John, which square in the centre of Beijing has a name which means Gate of Heavenly Peace?
Forbidden Square.
Tiananmen Square. Nicholas, in sport, lacrosse is the national game of which country?
Canada.
Correct. Tony, in arts and crafts, what R is a soft fibrous material from a type of palm leaf that is used for making baskets and mats?
Reed.
Raffia. Sarah, in classical music, how many symphonies did Brahms write? 4, 8 or 12?
8.
4. Alf, in 1996, what allowance replaced unemployment benefit and income support for unemployed people under pension age?
Job seekers allowance.
Correct. Heather, for which political party was Frank Dobson elected MP for Holborn and St Pancras in 1983?
The Labour Party.
Correct. John, what is the biggest species of cat native to the Americas, the jaguar or the lynx?
The jaguar.
Correct. Nicholas, in
Bank.
art, is the term life drawing a study of the human anatomy or the study of objects?
Human anatomy.
Correct. Tony, which C is an acid naturally contained in rainwater?
Chlorine.
Carbonic acid. Sarah, complete the title of this murder mystery by Italian author Umberto Eco. The name of the what?
Father.
Rose. Alf, what shape is an amphitheatre?
Round.
Circular, I'll accept round. Heather, which US state is further east, Illinois or Michigan?
Illinois.
Michigan. John, what F was the name initially given to the International Space Station?
Mir.
Freedom. Nicholas, which American actress appeared as the character Brenda Cushman in the 1996 comedy First Wife? Time is up. I cannot complete the question, and in that round you only managed to scrape together £200. Who has lost their nerve? Who is now clearly not up to the standard of the rest of you? Turf off the tiresome, dump the duffer. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Alf is now the strongest link, as he was the only player to answer all of his questions correctly. The weakest link is John, according to the statistics, but will the other players have picked up on this?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Tony.
John.
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 Sarah.
Heather, not one of your finest rounds.
I thought I'd better give someone else the chance to be the strongest link.
Right. What's John done to upset you?
Well, I did get a fair few questions wrong in that round.
Only one more than you, Heather.
Still one more.
Tony, why John?
He probably just got one more wrong than I did at that time, I guess.
You do a lot of guessing, don't you? John, did you leave your brains in Glasgow?
Oh, I didn't have a brain to leave, Anne.
Right. Just as well, with 4 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Well, I'm not too disappointed to have been voted off because I think I deserved it. I'm disappointed with my performance, but not in the fact that I've been voted off. Thoroughly deserved. Well, I think either Tony or Sarah will be voted off next. I think Tony's very hesitant at some of the answers. Sarah is, I think her nerves are beginning to play a wee bit.
Round 5, your total so far is £1,620. If you'd hit your targets, it would be £4,000. 5 of you left, another 10 seconds coming off the time. We start with the strongest link from the last round, that's Alf. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Alf, in music, which of the following is the headquarters of the Royal Military School of Music? The Guildhall, Kneller Hall, or the Queen Elizabeth Hall?
Queen Elizabeth Hall.
Kneller Hall. Heather, in botany, what ale is a tree bearing poisonous seeds and yellow flowers whose timbers can be used to make furniture?
Pass.
Laburnum. Nicholas, which champion of women's rights said women had always fought for men and for their children, now they were ready to fight for their own human...
Pankhurst.
Correct. Tony, in which year of the 1960s was the first James Bond film Dr. No released?
64.
1962. Sarah, what sea is the third largest city in Colombia and produces coffee, sugar and cotton?
Pass.
Carly. Alf, which P is an American Ivy League university based in the state of New Jersey?
Princeton.
Correct. Heather, in art, the Victoria and Albert Museum in London holds the largest collection in the world of the work of which English landscape artist?
Constable.
Correct. Nicholas, which
Bank.
actress co-starred with Robert De Niro in the 1984 film Once Upon a Time in America? Deborah Winger or Elizabeth McGovern?
Deborah Winger.
Elizabeth McGovern. Tony, in the Christian calendar, what is the earliest date on which Easter Day can fall?
The first.
The 22nd of March. Sarah, which Lennon and McCartney song, which was a hit for Marmalade in 1973, follows the fortunes of Desmond and Molly Jones?
Pass.
Obla Di, Obla Da. Alf, the cactus has small spiky leaves to reduce the loss of what by transpiration?
Water.
Correct. Heather, of which organisation have Len Murray, Norman Willis and John Monks been General Secretary?
Transport General Workers Union.
The Trade Union Congress. Nicholas, in modern history, what M was the surname of Oswald, the British politician who founded the Union movement in 1948?
Pass.
Mosley. Tony, in humans, the back of which joint is called the popliteal?
The knee.
Correct. Sarah, in
Bank.
finance, ABI stands for the Association of British what?
Industry.
Insurers. Alf, in science, what name is given to metals that are very unreactive, such as gold and silver?
Pass.
Noble metals. Heather, in theatre, which Oscar-winning director put on a production of Stephen Sondheim's Company at the Domna Warehouse Theatre in 1995? Time's up. The correct answer was Sam Mendes, and after all that work, you banked a disappointing £70. Let me remind you, she who stumbles should not survive. He who hesitates deserves a hard time. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Alf is, for the second time, the strongest link statistically. The weakest link is Sarah, who answered none of her questions correctly, although she did bank some money for the team. But how will the voting go?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Sarah.
Sarah.
Nicholas.
Nicholas.
Sarah.
Tony, why Sarah?
I think it was a pretty sad round for all of us, but I think Sarah may have gotten more questions wrong than the rest.
Right. Heather, you said in the last round you were giving somebody else a chance to be the strongest link, and you've let them have another chance now.
Share and share alike.
Right, why Sarah?
I just think she got more questions wrong and it's a bit shaky now.
Right. Sarah, have you gone a bit shaky?
Just a bit.
Right. With 3 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
think Anne can sort of make people feel a bit more nervous than they otherwise might. I think she does have an effect on the way people answer their questions. They might know questions if they were at home. I don't think the tactics have been used up to now, but now with Alf and Heather left, they're doing very well, so the other two might gang up on them and vote one of them off, or both of them.
Round 6, you've won £1,690 out of a possible 5,000. 4 of you left who are cutting another 10 seconds from your time. We start with the strongest link from the last round, that's Alf. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Alf, Rod Stewart was briefly apprenticed to which football club before his singing career took off, Brentford or Barnet?
Brentford.
Correct, Heather. In the American military, for what do the initials USAF stand?
United States Air Force.
Correct, Nicholas.
Bank.
With Malcolm X as one of its followers, Elijah Muhammad developed which movement in the 1930s?
Pass.
Nation of Islam. Tony. Which government ministry did George Orwell parody in the book 1984 by calling it the Ministry of Peace?
Ministry of Defence.
Correct, Alf. In what country of the United Kingdom was the largest onshore earthquake in 1984?
Wales.
Correct, Heather. The city of Athens is named after which Greek goddess?
Athena.
Correct, Nicholas.
Bank.
In literature, complete the title of poet Ted Hughes' children's story written in 1968. The Iron what?
Horse.
Man. Tony. Which element reacts with others to form chlorides?
Chlorine.
Correct, Alf. Vivaldi's Opus 8, the contrast between harmony and invention, is better known as the 4 what?
Seasons.
Correct, Heather. In Arthur Miller's play Death of a Salesman, what relation is Biff Loman to Willie Loman?
Father.
Son. Nicholas, in which national park is England's highest mountain, Scarfeld Pike?
Reach. Pass.
Lake District. Tony, the Spice Girls presented which TV chat show in November 2000?
TFI Friday.
Correct, Alf. What D is a flat area, often triangular in shape, formed by material deposited at the mouth of a river?
Delta.
Correct, Heather. What type of garden was first planted in the 16th century Italy to cultivate plants which could be used for medicine?
Medicinal garden.
Botanical garden. Nicholas, which Soviet gymnast became a star after winning
Nadia
3...
Comaneci.
No, the answer is Olga Korbut. Tony, in modern history, what sea is the name given to the Italian mafia within America?
Corleone.
Cosa Nostra. Alf, in science, what G is the name given to the process for rendering iron rust-proof?
Galvanising.
Correct, Heather.
Back.
In what century did Dublin become the capital of the Republic of Ireland?
1920.
Time is up. You're getting worse by the minute. You banked just £170 in that round. Who now is seriously past their best? Who is throwing away everyone else's money? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
For the 3rd time in a row, Alf is the strongest link, having answered all of his questions correctly. Although he banked the most money for the team, Nicholas is the weakest link as he answered all of his questions incorrectly. So who will the team decide to vote off?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Heather.
Nicholas.
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 Alf, why Nicholas?
He had a poor couple of rounds. He seemed to get a few wrong there this time.
Right. Tony, you've got a degree in criminal justice, have you?
Yes.
And you don't know what the mafia are called?
Well, I thought they were Corleone, sorry. But I guess it was...
Just the answer's no, you didn't know.
No, I didn't know that one.
Right. Why Nicholas?
I don't think he got many questions right, and he definitely was the weakest link in that round.
Nicholas, 11 O levels, 7 A levels, a degree, a PhD. You're just too bright for us. 3 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
At the start it was quite tense, quite nerves were high, but as the game progressed I was sort of getting comfortable, I was finding my feet, and then a bad stinker of a round came and just knocked me over. I think Tony's likely to go next purely because he doesn't seem to have as in-depth a knowledge as Heather or Alf.
Round 47, you have £1,860 out of the 6,000 you could have won. 3 of you left. Another 10 seconds off the clock. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Alf. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Alf, what S is a market town in Suffolk on the River Stour, which has 3 15th century perpendicular Gothic churches?
Pass.
Sudbury. Heather, in which US city was Senator Robert Kennedy assassinated in 1968?
Dallas.
Los Angeles. Tony, in football, who made 73 appearances in goal for England between 1963 and 1972?
Pass.
Gordon Banks. Alf, who composed the children's tale for narrator and orchestra Peter and the Wolf?
Benjamin Britten.
Prokofiev. Heather, in sport, captain Francois Pienaar led which country to victory in the 1995 Rugby World Cup final?
South Africa.
Correct. Tony, in literature, which black American author wrote the 1952 classic The Invisible Man?
Irving.
Ralph Ellison. Alf, in TV, which 90s British sitcom starred Honor Blackman as the mother of a woman who employed an ex-footballer as her housekeeper?
Pass.
The Upper Hand. Heather, what is the name given to the Olympic-style annual games founded in 1995 in the USA, which encompasses sports like skateboarding and bungee jumping?
Extreme sports.
The Extreme Games. I'll accept that. Tony,
Bank.
who directed the British film The Bridge on the River Kwai in 1957?
Wells.
David Lean. Alf, in which English county is Sandhurst Royal Military Academy?
Berkshire.
Surrey. Heather, in animal biology, how many chambers does a crocodile's heart have?
4.
Correct. Tony.
Bank.
In science, what weights do the initials MG represent?
Milligrams.
Correct. Alf, in
Bank.
motor racing, what G is the circuit where Stirling Moss crashed in 1962?
Goodwood.
Correct. Heather, the Rushcutters Bay, Horsley Park and Dunk Grey Velodrome are sports venues in which city?
Pretoria.
Sydney. Tony, in Greek mythology, what A was a beautiful youth who was killed by a boar while hunting?
Adon.
That's the correct answer. Time is up. And you banked £60. Hardly spectacular. Pretty pathetic. Never mind, in round 8 you get the chance to treble what you bank, and that means in the next round, potentially there's £3,000 to be won. The question is, whose day is now done? Who are you going to dump? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Once again, Heather is the strongest link, but in a sudden loss of form, Alf is now the weakest link. So what factors will the team take into account as they vote at this crucial stage of the game?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Alf.
Tony.
Alf.
Heather, that's a very interesting choice.
It's purely tactical.
Right. Nothing more to say. Tony, why Alf?
I think although he had some very strong rounds before, he didn't have a great one that time, so he seemed to be the weakest link.
Right. He certainly had a better game overall than you, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Alf, you were the weakest link in that round. You were the strongest player overall. But it's votes that count. You are the weakest link. Bye.
I'm very disappointed being voted off in that round. It wasn't a very good round for me, I realise that. But overall, I was the strongest link over all the game. And I thought I would get to the final and win the money. Heather and Tony both voted it off because they were scared to meet us in the final.
Round 8. You've got £1,920 in the bank out of a possible £7,000. Tony and Heather, just the two of you left, and this time you have only 90 seconds. But whatever you win in this round will be trebled and added to your total to make up your final prize money. So £3,000 is at stake in this round. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Heather. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Heather, which famous science fiction author hosted the Mysterious World show in the 1980s?
Don't know.
Arthur C. Clarke. Tony, what electrical discharge is named after the patron saint of sailors and was also the title of a film in 1985?
Ampere.
St Elmo's Fire. Heather, who was elected to succeed Betty Boothroyd as Speaker of the House of Commons in October 2000?
Brian Weatherall.
Michael Martin. Tony, what is the first name of the advertising guru who founded Saatchi & Saatchi with his younger brother Morris?
Michael.
Charles. Heather, in the Bible, what type of animal was the golden statue made by Aaron in Exodus 32?
Goat.
Golden calf. Tony, which British author who is known for his book Billy Liar wrote the screenplay for the 1961 film Whistle Down the Wind with Willis Hall?
Wilde.
Keith Waterhouse. Heather, in film, which historical American general has been played by, among others, Ronald Reagan, Errol Flynn, Leslie Nielsen and Robert Shaw?
General Custer.
Correct.
Bank.
Tony, which British actor took the role of Harry Palmer in the 1965 film The Impress File?
Kane.
Michael Caine, correct. Heather.
Bank.
India and which other country have fought sporadically over the state of Kashmir in the late 20th century?
Pakistan.
Correct. Tony, from which English port did the Pilgrims successfully set sail in the Mayflower in 1620?
Plymouth.
Correct. Heather.
Bank.
Which is the most southerly country in Scandinavia?
Holland.
Denmark. Time is up. You managed to win just £90. Never mind, we'll treble that and add it to the winnings from the previous rounds. That means prize money today of £2,190. But of course, only one of you can take that money away. So now you'll be playing against each other head to head. I'll ask alternate questions, best of 5. Whoever answers the most correctly wins. It's as simple as that. If there's a tie after 5, we'll go for sudden death until we have a winner. So Tony and Heather, for £2,190, let's play the weakest link. Tony, as the strongest link in the last round, you have the choice of who goes first.
I'd like Heather to go first.
Heather, in the name of the airline Qantas, for what does the Q stand?
Queensland.
That is correct. Tony, in children's TV, which animated characters shared a small blue planet with the Froglets and the Soup Dragon?
Teletubbies.
The correct answer is the Clangers. Heather, San Pedro Sula is a city in which country of Central America?
Panama.
The correct answer is Honduras. Tony, whose poem, Funeral Blues, featured in the 1994 film For Weddings and a Funeral?
Emily Dickinson.
The correct answer is W.H. Auden. Heather, who was the first Briton in space?
Folds.
The correct answer is Helen Sharman. Tony, based in St. Petersburg, Russia, by what name was the Mariinsky Ballet previously known?
St. Petersburg Ballet.
The correct answer is Kirov. Heather, in the 19th century, which British city was nicknamed Cottonopolis?
Leeds.
Correct answer is Manchester. Tony, in film, Robert Redford and Jane Fonda starred in Barefoot in the Park, based on a play by which American writer?
Arthur Miller.
Correct answer is Neil Simon. Heather, if you answer this question correctly, you have won. So, for £2,190. Which method of hairstyling was first launched in London in a salon in 1906 by Carl Nesler?
The perm?
That is the correct answer. That means, Heather, you are today's strongest link and you go away with £2,190. Tony, you leave with nothing. Join us again for the weakest link. Goodbye.
I think I was just lucky with some of the questions, and maybe I was done a service by having to go first.
I expected to be a bit nervous playing the game today, with the lights and the cameras and things like that. But in the end, I thought, well, I'm here for a laugh. Let's see how far I can go and have fun. And I think I played better because of that.
I didn't expect to win. I hoped to get far enough so that my friends couldn't really take the mickey out of me too much.
There's a couple looking to anchor themselves on the property ladder, next here on BBC Two.
What Shakespeare is obsessed with is the tension between humanity and the delusions of majesty. From that obsession came some of the greatest works that he or any dramatist of the tragedies of power ever created. Shakespeare revealed the darkest truths, not just about them, but about us too.
Was our greatest playwright also our greatest historian? Simon Sharma's Shakespeare starts tonight at 9 on BBC Two.
The hitman Herndon, an absolute bliss in a car boot sale battle later. Put your money where your mouth is at 5:15. Now, our love of house hunting on BBC Two is simply epic.
Today on To Buy or Not To Buy, we're... Johnny.